Hello, everyone. It's the Prophet Michael, aka Aries. I hope everyone is having a great day. Still scruffy. Thanks for noticing. And I know I promised you guys the next video would be a video about Aries, and hopefully I will do that today. But in one of my comments, I had a comment that was so sublime that I felt like I had to make a video out of it. Kind of one of those teaching moments. Okay, so on my Mashiach cannot be a Jewish video, which is my most popular video, somebody finally commented on it, and it was a phenomenal comment, and so I would like to address it, and I'm going to paste it right after this. Okay, so firstly, before I begin on my retort here, let me just say that I think this comment was very well made and in so many ways. There, even the caps with all and is somewhere totally fair. I mean, they're commenting to a YouTube video where I said Mashiach cannot be Jewish, and I put cannot in all caps. So Mila 66 full, whoever you are, kudos to you. Very well done. And lastly, I would also like to note that the structure of your comment, the punctuation, everything is very, very good. It's very efficient, which is another reason why I'm commenting on it. Okay, so we're going to go over this line by line. Well, you see, it doesn't really matter which Christian Bible you use. They all, caps, bring false translation of this verse until Shiloh comes. Granted. The word Shiloh in Hebrew has two meanings: his gift, granted, and tranquility through abundance, granted, which is, caps, in the verse referring to the beginning of the Messianic age, granted, but is not necessarily to a person. Conflict. Okay, my conflict comes from because up to that commenter's point, I'd heard about Shiloh. I know about Shiloh, but I always have heard about Shiloh in context through rabbis about a person named Maimonides. And this is kind of one of those, learn something new every day, even a prophet. So if that he in the Christian translation means Shiloh, then that explains why Maimonides said that the Mashiach would be the first Moses and would be the last Moses. So now you're asking, who is Maimonides? Well, Maimonides was a ancient Jewish sage, rabbi, teacher, whatever, who lived in about the 1200s, I think. You could best describe Maimonides as the Euclid of Judaism, but now you're asking yourself, who is Euclid? Euclid was an ancient Greek geometer that lived around the time of 300 BCE, I'm pretty sure. He's famous for a bunch of things, but amongst all, he's famous for axiomatizing geometry or creating axioms for all of geometry. So now you're asking yourself, what are axioms? Well, axioms in a simple term are self-evident proofs. So what Euclid did is he took all the fragmented and dispersed geometry of the time and condensed it and simplified it into 6 different axioms that every person would agree on, that had been proven many times and never been proven false. To this day, they last. Only the last one is questioned. So, what Euclid did for geometry, Maimonides did for Judaism. They describe him as like an eagle that flew over the top and saw all of, the dispersed, the original Torah, the 5 books of Moses, everything, and all of the writings that the Jewish sages did after that, and prophets called the Talmud and everything. He condensed everything. So Maimonides basically condensed all of Judaism down to 13 different principles or axioms. Number 12 of which is that the Mashiach actually does exist or will exist. Like the Mashiach is an actual person. It's not just like a phase of humanity, like the Messianic age will unfold on its own. Most modern rabbis would explain it like this. Through all Judaism, which they considered a canary in a coal mine for all humanity to a rightful extent, that all the good things and bad things that have happened to the Jewish people have always gone through a singular mercurial figure, good or bad, from Hitler to Moses and everything. So, in conclusion, in a very long winded way, yes, Shiloh is a person and it's not just an age, or unless you want to argue with Maimonides about it. Reading the second part. However, the word until implies the scepter will not remain in the hands of Judah after this event or a person. If that's true, then Isaiah is wrong for bringing false positive prophecies. And if that is true, then Isaiah is a false prophet according to Halakha. Definitely something I will think about. I will check with the rabbis to see what they say about this. I'm sure they have something figured out already, no doubt about it. Okay, firstly, full disclosure. I know who Isaiah is, but I don't know that much about him. I don't know all his prophecies. And honestly, I've heard the name, but I don't know who Halakha is either. So, just being honest here. I will check what the rabbis have to say about this. I'm sure they have something figured out already, no doubt about it. I would totally agree with that. As I've said in previous videos, this is a dispute in Judaism which has been going on since the beginning of Judaism, even before that, when you guys are Hebrews. Again, one more time, thank you whoever this Mila 66 full is and everything. But if you're going to talk to the rabbis about the whole intel thing, I got one more question for them that you can ask them for me, if you would. Okay, so my second biggest problem with chapter 49 of Genesis is the translations on the blessings to the house of Joseph. Okay, in that first translation, which is the most modern translation, the one that's in most of the modern Bibles, it says Joseph is a prince amongst his brothers. But in that translation that I just posted, in some older translations from like Bibles from the 70s and everything, it says he was separated from his brothers. So, to put it bluntly to all the Jewish scholars out there, um, those two things, those two translations are almost exactly opposites. He was separated from his brothers, basically means in exile. He was prince among his brothers, basically means the leader of those people. They're almost exactly different things. So, how did one translation become almost two exactly separate different things? So I would ask, what is the correct translation in ancient Hebrew? He who is a prince amongst his brothers, or he who was separated from his brothers? And then I would conclude that if any of you Jewish scholars or rabbis cannot find the ancient Hebrew that shows that this passage both means something and exactly its opposite, then I can only conclude that maybe the Torah isn't as immutable as you all think it is. All right, in conclusion, as always, rule number one, do not touch other people without their consent, aka do not hurt other people. And rule number two, it's all about honesty. Lies are ticked down, aka try not to lie. And weirdly, as an add on today, just because she wants me to do it, uh, God just wants me to tell you all that she loves you all very, very much. She's just like a normal mother. She grows impatient, angry when you all continue to fuck up repeatedly. So, in that context, you all have a good night or a good day, and I will talk to you in a little bit. Actually, I think I'm going to do the Aries zodiac right after this.